Welcome back, and if you're a first-time viewer, don't forget to like and subscribe. But today we are going to be going over part 3 of our fancy picture frame. So we're going to be going ahead and putting together the use of this little guy, which we'll have links to here later in the video. This guy, which again we'll have links to the video on how we did this, just in case you need some more detail, and making a picture frame out of it. So without further ado, let's get started on putting it all together. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start prepping our stock. We just want to cut it down to roughly about the length we're going to be needing for the whole picture frame. And we just want to make sure we edge joint it so that we've got a nice flat side. We've got a video coming out about this thing here soon. And then just edge joint the other side so that way both sides are perfectly parallel to the tops. A quick cut down on the sled for the tops just to get rid of any of that ugly stuff that was on there. Now for this part, you want to kind of raise your blade a little bit by a little bit. We went a little hard here right off the bat. Normally we want to go a little bit shallower. But you're basically just going to incrementally increase your blade until you cut all the way through or pretty close to it. When you flip it over, just make sure you keep the same side against the fence. That's really important, so that way you have the same basic thickness on both sides. And then just cut out the waste. And this makes it so you don't have the two pieces falling apart while you're cutting down the center, which can be a danger on the table saw. And you should have a result that looks very similar to this. Alright, moving right along, we're going to go ahead and cut the dado for the veneer strips that we're going to cut a little bit later. If you haven't seen our video on this, make sure you check out part 2. That covers this in a little bit more detail. And just keep it right along that fence and you should be fine. And you should have a result that comes out like this when you're done, depending upon what spacing you use. As far as veneers go, just make sure you have a feather board and cut the whatever color you're going to be using on the side. Just cut that board down and leave a little piece of veneer on the side about the size of your blade. And then just put a ton of glue in here. I cannot emphasize how much glue you actually need to do this. In order to be able to keep it all good through all the different cutting and sanding that you're going to be doing and all that you need to do. So go through this real slow, take your time. You've got like 5 minutes on Title Bond 2 and just even clamping pressure when you're done. When you're doing this, just make sure that you're really holding it against the fence and down towards the table. When you're getting about halfway through, switch around to the back and pull it the rest of the way through. Or you can just sand it down. Then we just want to go ahead and cut a rabbet in the side of our picture frame stock that we've made. And then create the mitered corners. And just flip the piece right over and make the other side. Then apply a liberal amount of glue. And then you can just tape it all up. Sorry about the bad shot here on that. Now just finish taping up the side, and after a little bit of pulling and pushing, that should hold nice and flat. The other way you can do it is just with some regular ratcheting band clamps, and that works too. After everything dries, just go ahead and use your spline jig to finish up making the splines. We made this in part 1 if you haven't seen that. Put a link to the video up top. And then just use, again, more glue. Lots of more glue. And then just insert your veneer pieces for the splines. And then clamp it down. This will make the corners super rigid. And then you can either cut off the excess with a handsaw, or you can go more the method that I wound up going with this, and doing it on the table saw to cut off the excess. Just try to cut it as straight as possible, and then sand it down until it's flat, and then cut off the rest. And you get a result similar to that. Just wipe on some wood sealer like shellac. Let that dry for a couple of hours. And then move on to cutting the plexiglass while you wait. It's best to reverse your blade for this. That makes it a little bit easier on the plastic when you're cutting through it. It does make a little bit of a mess though. Then just insert your plexiglass that you got done cutting right into the frame. Then your printed or picture of sorts. A little bit of cardboard to support it, so keep it from sliding around and getting dust on it. And then the craft paper on the back. You want the adhesive all the way across it to keep it nice and sealed. This will keep dust from getting into the back, which will eventually go to the front over the years. Then just put on your favorite picture hanger and you're all good to go. And this is the result. Alright, well I hope you guys enjoyed our video on how to make a fancy picture frame. I know we had a lot of fun building it, and definitely a lot more fun projects coming up using this jig in particular in our, actually probably our next coming up video. We'll see how that goes. Probably. Yes? Maybe? Okay. So in the meantime, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon, because we definitely have a lot more content coming at you. And in that note, we'll see you in the next video.